become a dubstep producer, but I didn't know where to begin. Here's an article with stats. You know, I'd really like to become a dub.
Welcome, race fans. Tonight we are at Indianapolis for a round of 8, race number 1. We have got 8 drivers that are trying to make it to the final 4. They will have 2 races. That's going to determine Indianapolis and Homestead. Your 8 that are in for it. That's going to be Bobby Rafferty, who's had a pretty strong season, coming in with 6 wins. So far, that was the highest in the Relentless Racing League, Xfinity. And sitting in P2 on a two race win streak through the playoffs. That's going to be Joe Roberts. And one of the third one, that's going to be Jacob Denson. I'm not seeing him out in the field right now. There he is. He is here. Charlie Harcum is going to be sitting in 4th. William Regan in 5th. Cody Riggs 6th. Zach Bucher 7th, and rounding out the round of 8 is going to be John Knighty. If I'm not mistaken, I think Tony may have caught up with me. Tony, man, it's Indy. It ain't the 500, but man, first race of round of 8, it's every bit of much pressure.
Oh yeah, especially with the fuel these guys have, it's definitely going to be a strategy race. I think passing is going to be very difficult, and tire saving is going to be huge tonight.
Well, first off, I'm going to ask, do you think he can pull a three-peat?
Man, I don't know. I hope so as his team owner, but this is not Joe's strong suit here. I don't think. This is tire wear is huge. Joe's known to chew up those tires pretty bad. This track is really flat in the corners, not a lot of banking to lean on, so those tires get hot. They lose traction very fast. This car is tight and it wants to push out to the wall on exit. And like I said, it's going to be really hard to pass here. The bottom line is going to be king in the corners, and if you find yourself anywhere other than that bottom line, you're going to be losing some spots.
Well, we ran down the 8 that's in it. Of those 8, we know it's pretty much anybody can get in, but we've got quite a few that's going to be here that, they get a win. That could really upset, some of these playoff drivers trying to lock in, through the round of 8 into the final 4.
Yeah, if any of our playoff drivers win tonight, they automatically advance to that championship round. If somebody outside of the playoffs wins, that kind of takes everybody out of that guaranteed lock. So I think it's going to be interesting. I expect one of these playoff drivers to win tonight. They've kind of just been there all season, so we'll see what happens.
They've been there all season, but we've also seen, tragedy strike. And, we've had a few drivers that we didn't think would be able to pull the win off, and they got it. Like, no offense, and not knocking his driving skill one bit, but William Regan, I mean, he snuck in, and he's still sneaking in. I mean, he's in the round of 8.
Yeah, definitely a possibility. I just think this is a really tough track to sneak into a win. You have to be fast here at Indy, and you have to make no mistakes. One mistake will bite you real quick.
Yeah, especially if you get the bad run coming off of, I guess we'll say 1.5 to 2.5, however they want to go with their
Yep.
turns here. That can throw your whole set off to the back stretch going into 3 and 4. Just completely off.
Yeah, and that's where you're gonna make time. Like you can give up a little bit of time in one and three, but if you give up any time in 2 and 4, if you miss that mark a little bit, it affects you down this really long straightaway, so you're losing speed the whole time. It's really important to get off of turn 2 and turn 4 as best as you can. Um, like I said, one mistake, and if you have to lift at all, you are gonna get freight trained.
And we've seen mistakes happen. So, I mean, anything really is. I think the most of the moves are going to be made between turns 1 and 2. That little area right there, because you can get a good deep run off of 2 and have that whole back stretch. But, if you've got somebody sitting there on the outside of you, it's kind of pinning you a little bit, and that's, going to burn some tires up real quick.
Yeah, and I think what turns 1 and 3 are going to be a little more forgiving if you can't make the pass. 2 and 4, if you get a bad run off the corner, all those guys behind you, they're gonna be right there. Um, but I think 1 and 3 is going to be where we're going to see at least whoever's trying to be smart and methodical try to make passes, as well as trying to push that breaking point a little deeper than other people. There's a mark on the wall that a lot of people are using for a breaking point. If you can push it in a little deeper and get underneath somebody, you can kind of push them off of their line and gain the position.
But I'll tell you right now one that's being methodical about it, and that's going to be John Neidick. Dropped the fastest time right now in qualifying on his first lap at a 52.75. And Rafferty's sitting there at a 52.76.
Yeah, that's quite the pickup for John. His fastest time during practice was a 53 flat. He gained 3 tenths in qualifying, and normally it's the other way around. Normally it takes a lap or two to get those tires warmed up. This car is a little loose coming off of turn 4 and turn 2. When you're really trying to put the power down to gain that momentum for the straight stretches. So that's an impressive lap. That's the fastest lap we saw uh, basically all of practice, and he did that with no draft.
And I'm really going to say that might just hold for the pole.
I think it will. Just looking at the lap times of practice to qualifying, I think the faster guys have already put down a lap time. The ones who have not are kind of, not as fast. At least they weren't in practice. So I think that'll hold. And that's very important for John. He's sitting in 8th in points right now, and that's a bonus point, pole position.
And yeah, that's going to be his first pole of the season. So if that falls playoffs, you know what happens when you need it.
Absolutely. I mean, some of these guys are going to be pushing for every point they can get, and I do know John at Indy. John is always fast at Indy. I raced with him in Cup. I think it was 2 seasons ago, and he was right up there for the lead pretty much the whole race until he got caught up in some fender banging with another driver. But John's always fast here, always good here. Bobby's really good here. Joe's good, but we'll see the tires how they hold up for him. Should be a good race, especially up at the front.
Yeah, I wouldn't, excuse me, I wouldn't expect anything shy than a showdown, probably between Robert Rafferty, Denson, and Harcum. And the lap time out there, you never know. Knight, it may be
awesome job, man.
he may be the one that
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
pulls it in.
I would not put it past him at all.
While they do get started grid up, man, we're gonna give some shout outs to Martin Sports and Whiplash SimCam. That's a pretty good spot, having one bonus point right now, being one of the final 8.
Absolutely. Right now, all 8 drivers are separated by 8 points after the points reset for the round of 8. So 1 point, that's 1 position right now.
And it's going to be tight. I hate to say it, this race is going to be close, and I think it's going to take every bit of 65 laps to figure out who's going to win or 55. Thought the thing said 65. I'm dyslexic here a little bit. But man, this pace lap, I tell you what, this is going to be a long one. Once again, if you're just now joining us, you can see the playoff drivers. They do have green banners, except for the Pepsi, which I don't think is working for some reason. Knock them a point. I'm ready. I've been ready for this race all week, Tony.
Yeah, it's going to be a good race. I think it'll be kind of. I think we may have a couple cautions early, just some cars missing the corner and hitting the wall. But I think we're going to have long green flag runs towards the middle and end of this race. So that's where that strategy is really going to come into play.
We're going to drop that tire down and we're going to take it up to the ticker so we can get full screen. Kick ours out there saying, let's go, Rogers. Rogers getting him start back in the 13th.
Yeah, he kind of joined the session late. Doesn't look like he put in a whole lot of practice laps here, so he may get better as the race goes on. I'm really interested to see what happens in turn one here. Who's going to get the run off of, into turn one and off of turn two? I think you got to think that inside line is going to be preferred here, where John should be able to clear. But we'll see what Bobby can do on the outside.
Yeah, we know Bobby is quick on these restarts, but you know what? He's got to wait on John. John's got the tempo for it. Here they coming down as we are starting round 8, race 1 in Indianapolis.
Bobby got a good launch there. Zach on the outside lane in that 14 did not.
Nope, and they are whipping into that turn right there. You can just tell the speed.
John got into the corner really good, but it looked like he had to get off the throttle to avoid hitting the wall, and that's going to send Joe Robert and Bobby Rafferty around, I think.
I don't think 90's going to go down without a fight. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, he's kind of stuck out of position now with Gary Sakta's inside here. We'll see if he can make something happen on that high line, and get back into third place.
You guys have pretty much settled down. You can see everybody's a single file except for Cody Riggs. He's sitting there on his own time. Him and Jordan Miles.
Looks like the the 77 is backing up the corners a little more than Joe is, and that's helping him on the exit where he's pulling right back up to that 6's bumper. We'll see if he tries. He's trying to make a move now. He's going to try and send it in deep and get underneath the 6, and the 6 has to lift. 77 is going to make the pass, and John's going to try and make that work as well.
That's exactly what we was talking about going into one of those turns. You can get the run on it, and if you stick them up high, they're going to have to let off, and they're going to that wall, and they just got in a position.
Yeah, I think if you're on the outside lane and there's a car underneath you, you've already lost the spot. Lift, minimize the damage, and try and get back to the bottom. Get back in line before you get freight trained.
What's that going on right now with Hornbeck? You've got Charles and Charlie on the inside of him.
Yeah, that's a tough position to be in because that bottom lane car wants to use all of that track to maximize the speed coming off the corner, but he can't. But on the outside lane, you got to be a little cautious because you don't know how far up that inside lane car is going to come.
Charles and Charlie finally going to get around him. Looks like going to be settled in. Hornbeck's going to have to just settle for P8 right now.
Yeah, wise decision just to get back in line there, try to get a decent run off the corner so you can maintain that position and not get run over. Matt's saying that the restart zone is off tonight, so all restarts will be on the green flag. With that being said, the first stage is at lap 20, so these guys will race lap 20. And in all honesty, I think that's going to be really close to that fuel window. By my math, it should be right around 20 laps. If they push hard, it may be a little less than 20. If they save a little, they'll be okay. But that's going to be right on that number.
Well, you know, you got some that can hold can save fuel better than they can tires. So it's going to be, I think it's going to come down, the whole race may come down to a fuel strategy.
Yeah, and after that caution at lap 20, that's gonna be, call it 30 laps to go after caution laps, maybe 31, 32. So when do you pit? If the fuel window's 20 laps, do you come in at 15? Do you run it long and stay on fresher tires later? There's definitely going to be some strategy. I think everybody's going to have to pit twice, but I think the first pit stop is going to be a given. That second pit stop is where it's going to shake things up.
Yeah, there's where your crew chief is going to be crunching numbers real hard, trying to figure out, hey, if you let off just 1 or 2 feet earlier, coast a little bit longer, you might can get one more half a lap out.
And Matt says that the restart zone is not available on this track. That's why it is not on tonight. Yeah, I think we're just going to see differing strategies. The people who are better on fresher tires, might want to run that second fuel run a little longer, to maximize the fresh tires on the backside. The guys who are kind of, can go fast on fresh tires, but can also maintain on older tires, they may cut that in half. It's going to be interesting to see when people decide to pit. I don't expect a lot of cautions tonight, so I do think that decision will have to be made. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, it's going to be. I definitely think it's going to come down to a whole lot of figuring out.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of passes are going to be made on track, especially once they get stretched out. If somebody's burning up their tires pretty fast, you might see some passing, but other than that, I think it's going to stay pretty much single file.
Yeah, especially since we've kind of got close to the end of the season. We're sitting with 16 in the field, so that's still a pretty good number with 3 races to go before a champion's crown.
Yeah, it seems like every season when we get towards the end of the season, the car count kind of drops a little bit. Less drama, but I'd like to see some more cars in the field, make it a little more interesting.
Now Jordan Miles looks like he's trying to put up a fight. Him and Eric Woman going at it.
Yeah, I'm looking at P4 or 3 and 4 here. Gary Sachs starting to catch John Nidek here. And Zach Bucher's not far behind him. We may see a little more battling than we anticipated.
Yeah, John's making that 44 proud. I mean, he's up 1 position in the points right now. So that's going to be good for him. And a 3rd on the stage, that's going to move him on up a little bit more.
If John could stay here all night in 3rd place, he would be more than happy. That would definitely help him in the points, gain a couple spots, and put him in a little better situation for next week.
Yeah, I think Homestead's going to be a make or break track for a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people like that track, and a lot of people hate it. I don't think there's any real in between there. So some people are going to be really good there, and some people are going to be struggling. And if you're one of those ones that's struggling tends to struggle at Homestead, then you definitely want to have a good run here tonight.
It's one of those, as Joe says, let's fill it full of water and stock it with fish. So we know he's not a fan of Homestead, so we're going to look for him to probably try to do pretty good here at Indy.
Yeah, yep. And I'm seeing John's inching closer and closer to that number 6.
He's got him down to half a second.
Looks like he's backing up the corners a little bit better than Joe is and getting a better drive off.
Little tire factor halfway through to the stage.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet that. Yeah, you can see Joe's pushing a little pushing tight a little harder than John is. John's able to keep that car about a half a lane lower than Joe, which gives him a better drive off the corner.
We got a little bumping going on back there with William and the Hornbecks. He is not in a good spot right there.
Oh, and he pushed high there. That's going to open the door for Hornbeck. Almost got in the wall.
He got around one Hornbeck, but he's got another one to get around now.
We got somebody, that Jim Mott, he is way off the pace. I'm not sure if something happened to him, but he's 10 seconds behind the car in front of him.
You know, this may not, like we say, he may not be comfortable at this track, so he may just be cruising, getting in some seat time.
Yeah, a lot of people are not comfortable at this track. It's not a typical oval track. Definitely a rectangle. Those flat corners, 4 defined corners versus, you know, they most ovals. It's like 1 and 2 are the same corner, but not here.
Nidek's making the move on Joe.
Cody Riggs is trying to make a move on Mike Hornbeck as well. Now they're going to battle side by side. Joe's trying to side draft John.
Ooh.
Joe's going to have it. Did they lean on each other a little bit there?
They did. That was a little bit of, I don't know.
But look behind them. It brought that pack right up to them.
Yeah. Bucher and Sack and Denson there.
It's one thing you do not want to do is go side by side on the straightaways because both of you are losing time.
I don't think it was much of a side draft as it was maybe just a door riding with each other.
Might have been.
But that's opening up the gap for Rafferty. He's pretty much
cruising
walking away.
I know, it looks like we've got Bobby, then we have a pack of cars, then we have a gap, then we have another pack of cars.
Now Harkham's kind of all by himself.
Yeah, he's kind of stuck right in the middle of those 2 packs. Not really getting a whole lot of help with the draft in front of him, and that pack behind him may catch him pretty quick. Somebody's making a move back here. Is that chart? Oh, that's Denson, isn't it?
Yeah,
Making a move on Gary Sack. Not going to be able to do it unless Gary's kind of being a little conservative there. Didn't cut down in front of him too bad on the corner there.
Well, he could have blocked him a whole lot more than what he actually did. They both dove down.
I think he was being pretty respectful, being that Gary's not in the playoffs anymore, and Denson still is. So I think he was being a little courteous there and not trying to put either of them in a bad spot.
Bucher gets a big checkup. Sack almost ran right into the rear end of him. Looks like Jim Mont's entering the pits.
I want to go look at John's car and see if he does have any damage on that right side. He's got some damage on the back. I don't know where that came from, but his left rear's bent in a little bit. Got some damage on the right side too. That must have been, well, must have got into Joe there.
Wiggins is slowly making his way up. He's moved up to the 12th position, started in 18th.
Almost looked like John just kind of put it in the wall right before the corner there. Couldn't tell from the angle, but he was really close to that wall.
looks like you can't get. Zach keeps trying to challenge Bucher for that 4th position.
Ooh. Zach is overdriving that corner, or Zach is missing it a little bit. But Gary Sack almost wrecked Zach Bucher there.
We'll put Jay out there saying, "Let's go, Gary."
Well, I think Gary's going to lose a spot right here. Maybe not. He's able to come down and protect that spot.
Well, you know, Denson wants. You know, he wants that 5th stage point position.
Oh, absolutely. Every point counts. And we are approaching that stage end here very soon.
3 laps away. And Rafferty's built up a 4-second lead. He's pretty much cruising.
Yeah, he's got that cruise control engaged. He's just running.
You know, Robert Knight, Bucher, and Zach. Kind of a little bit of gap. I mean, Zach's got some breathing room.
I'm surprised Bobby can get that much of a lead without the draft. You know, just out there by himself, no draft helping him, and he's driving away.
We may have to look at the post-race inspection there, tear it apart, see what kind of music he's listening to out there. Quieter not out in chat than it normally is.
Definitely pretty quiet tonight.
We've been keeping it pretty clean race. I just can't believe Rafferty's, you know, he's in 20 laps he put 5-second gap.
John's making a move for second here. Let's see if he can get off the corner and make the pass. He's got Joe. Joe pushed out a little wide, and John drove underneath him. Looks like John's trying to protect that line now. Joe's there, though. Joe's going to send it back around him.
He got just a little bit of a draft push from Zach, and that was able to get Joe back there in front of him.
Well, and I'm wondering if that damage on John's spoiler isn't hurting him when he's out front. It's bent up a little bit, creating drag that's going to slow the car down a little bit. Now, if you're in the draft, you know it has less of an effect. But when you're not drafting off of another car, as we see Jacob Denson get around Gary Sack here, he's been trying to do that for the last 10 laps, it seems like. But you know, that back end the damage there isn't as bad when you're behind another car, but as soon as you get out to the front, that you have that draft to rely on.
Yeah, you can see Knight, he's not going down. He wants that position back.
Well, that's the stage.
He's not gonna get it. P3 on stage 1, not too bad of a finish. I mean, you only dropped down 2 points, so I mean, you're up 4 bonus points right now.
Well, third place would be 5 bonus points plus the pole position point there, so that's 6. Bobby was already leading the points, so that really doesn't affect John. He's racing some of these guys that are behind him. Joe's pretty safe right now in points, but you know, he's racing Zach Bucher. He's racing Denson and Harcum and Cody Riggs, William Reagan. You know, those are the guys that he's battling in the points. And right now he's doing exactly what he needs to do. He's in front of all those guys he's battling. Yeah. John came into tonight 8th in points.
Yeah, if it fell right now, I mean, as points were, just a quick breakdown, tonight it could be sitting right there on the bubble, getting into the championship four if tonight was the cutoff.
Yep. So getting him in a little better position for next week's race at Homestead. Moving up the point standings, gaining a few points here, a few points there. It's gonna be hard to gain points at these next few races with this low car count.
Yeah, plus, the biggest mover ain't going to be that big of a mover.
No, definitely not. Well, on a track like this, it's as hard as it is to pass. I don't even think you gamble on trying to gain that point, because you'd have to not qualify, start in the back, and hope you can get back to the front. But it's tough to pass here.
And, the biggest mover so far, that's going to be Chad Wiggins, and he's only up 7. So, I mean, if you're going to get any major lane changes here, or position changes.
Yeah, and I think, man, I'm torn with what John should do here with that damage on the back end. If he stays to get it fixed, it's going to put him so far back in the, in the running order, and as tough as it is to pass here, how does he gain that back, or does he just suffer with that damage?
I mean, if he can stay in a draft, it's not gonna hurt him too bad. Got a race coming off. They pretty much come out as they went in.
Yeah, I don't think there was really any changes for position there. Looks like William Reagan may have fallen back quite a bit, lost a few spots on pit road, but
Yeah, looks like he had been there about 6 seconds longer, so he may have had some damage to fix. Gary Sack,
yeah, he lost quite a few too.
should have trouble finding him.
He's sitting right behind Harcum and Denson, I believe.
Now, I'm not for sure, but it's showing that he did not pit, which...
Oh, he pitted.
That's what I was going to say. I saw him pit.
The only car that stayed out was Jim Mott, and he pitted earlier, so I think that may have been a wave around. This is John's opportunity to get around Joe here. Joe's going to be stuck in that outside lane if John gets a good restart, which would open the door for him to gain that position.
Like you got Denson back there, and Denson's looking to get that win too. He's moved through the field pretty good. Yeah, I'm going to say the biggest flop on that pit is going to be William Regan.
Yeah, I assume he was fixing some damage there. He may try to overcome that by maybe short pitting, and getting more time on fresh tires. Looks like they'll be going green at lap 24, so that's going to be 31 laps. Maybe comes in a lap, 13 or 14.
Do you think it can be stretched 31 laps?
Nope. Absolutely not. I don't believe it's even possible. By my count, if you had fresh tires the full run, you would get 20 laps. Obviously, you're going to lose a little bit of speed and a little bit of fuel as the tires wear off. So I think about 22, 23 would be the max.
Since they kind of liked it last week, we got some pretty good compliments on it. We're going to crank it up a little bit on this restart. this stuff's strong zone, I don't really know what will.
Yeah, we saw some passes being made though. John got around Joe for second. Jacob Denson got around Joe for third. They're shaking it up a little bit up here in the front.
Yeah, you got Denson. He was able to make the move getting around Joe, and that's like you said, that allowed Neidick to get up there in P2.
It's like Zach Baker's trying to make a move on Gary Sack. It's not going to work this time, but we'll see what he can do in the next corner. Making a move for that low line right now. He's going to have position. We'll see if Gary can defend it at all.
Minor incident.
Zach's going to make it. Gary got a little out of shape there.
Yeah, he's got Charlie. He's got Charlie right there giving him pressure too.
Yeah, I think Gary had to lift a little bit. He got a little squirrely coming off the corner. I don't know if it was because he was tight and pushing out to the wall or if he just got a little sideways, but you could see the back end of the car just kind of skating around a little bit and lost momentum there and kind of got put in a bad position where he may lose a bunch more positions here.
Well, minor incident. Appreciate the follow.
Dad Wiggins taking a look underneath Gary Sack. I imagine Cody Riggs going to try and follow. Cody got a real nice run off the corner. That's going to give him a good shot at making this pass on Gary Sack. And as tight as William Reagan is there, it might help William get around him too. But Cody kind of got pinched to the inside, has no draft help. William Reagan's going to get the run on the outside. We'll see what Cody does in turn one here. See if he can break a little later than these guys and make the move.
Oh, that back end starting to get loose, it looks like. That was.
Cody sent it.
It
seemed like maybe a little bit too hard, washed up just a little bit, which put, I believe that's Charge and Charlie kind of in a bad spot there.
I'll tell you who put in a real bad spot. That was Gary Sack. He dropped about 3 positions off that.
Yeah, he got stuck in that outside lane, and it just did not work out very well for him. Chad had a moment there, went really high. That's going to cause him a lot of momentum loss here, and Cody's kind of right on his bumper. Cody had to check up. Cody's looking to get that nose underneath him there. Ooh, now Cody might get stuck in a bad spot going into turn one here.
Reagan's at his corner.
Yeah, that's going to open the door for William Reagan.
Oh, touching contact, almost a net code. Regan's like, you know what? I saw you do it to Sack. I'm going to do it to you. Took the play out of Cody's book.
Yeah, and that's for eighth position here. I mean, these guys are desperate right now. These guys are playoff drivers trying to get every position they can get.
Well, they're running 8th and 9th right now in the race, and they're setting 6th and 7th or 5th and 6th in points. So,
yeah, and with John Neidick running P2, if it were to end right now, John would jump over top of both of these guys. And he'd probably jump over top of Zach Bucher as well.
Yeah, and possibility of Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie's... where is Charlie at right now? I think he kind of got... No, that's Gary Sack. His cars are kind of hard. Yeah, he's sitting P6, so that would put him, I think, in front of Charge and Charlie. Or if not, right close to him.
Yeah, your front three is pretty much... Well, I mean, they ain't got too much. I mean, Bobby's walking away again, but, Denson and Neidick, we'll say it's pretty much spreading out.
It's spreading out. I think we could have a battle for second place and fourth place, but I think right now the battle is going to be a little further back. We got two packs of 4 cars each, and they've been battling pretty much the whole time. William Reagan's looking to send it underneath the 5 of Chad Wiggins.
Riggs is trying to sling it out. I'm going to try to get it run and use his draft just for a tad as he's tucking in behind William.
Yeah, he kind of had the whole track available to him there, so he went out wide to get a better drive off of the corner, and it worked. He just didn't have anywhere to go with it. Oh, is he? Oh, God, turned around. He saved it. That was a hell of a save. That's going to cost him some spots.
You know, compared to what it could have been, that was a real good save.
I'm wondering if because it looked like he had to check up pretty bad. I'm wondering if he had to get on the brakes a little harder than he wanted to, and that kicked the car sideways.
Yeah, I think going into that, William had Chad on the outside, and he let off a little bit. And I don't think Cody was really expecting him to let off when he did. But you know what? That was a great save.
And then we just saw the 37. The 5 was underneath him on that bottom line, but the 37 just sent it on the high lane. And look at the gap he created there. I don't know if the 5 just had a bad run off the corner, or if the 37 was just that much faster on that high lane.
We're gonna jump back real quick. I want to see this save if I can find it. Hang on, let me get back to it. But I was wanting to see that save from Cody's point of view.
I thought for sure he was going around there. That was a very bad spot to be sideways.
He's trying it again, going to the outside. Chad, he's not going down without a fight. He's trying to catch William because they know they're both fighting for points.
And not going to make it work on the high lane, but we're going to see if he can carry the momentum off the corner and maybe try to outbrake him.
Oh, Sack just got into the wall a little bit.
I think Cody may be being a little more conservative now after that close call. Seemed like he was braking just a little bit earlier than he was.
Yeah, you being a playoff driver, you have one of those scares. It kind of makes you go back in your shell for a few laps so you can kind of regain your bearings.
Yeah, you don't want to take yourself out. You know, it's one thing to get beat out of a playoff spot, but you don't want to take yourself out because of a mistake. So he may be just being a little conservative, braking a little earlier now, not trying to push the issue. Maybe he'll try it again on newer tires, but I think he's just backing it down just a little bit. We got a battle going on up here with William Reagan and Preston Hornbeck.
Yeah, Preston just stood to the inside, got away from that draft.
Got a little bit more momentum and cleared him even before the corner. 37 had a better run through the corner. That's going to bring him right back to his bumper, it looks like.
I've seen a little bunching up back here in the back. You got Zach, Rogers, and Miles. I'm gonna tell you what, Tony. It's been awesome just seeing how some of these drivers throughout the season has improved so much. I mean, Preston Hornbeck is one that comes to my mind real quick on improvement from the beginning of the season to where he is now.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I enjoy about being involved in this league is just kind of watching some of these drivers progress as drivers and through the rankings. You know, and then when they come in, they might be a lot of them were pretty green, making a lot of mistakes, and then as they progress through the ranks, they just get better and better, and the quality of drivers they drive around gets better, so they have to.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Preston come up through the truck into the Xfinity. I mean, and he's definitely improved a lot. And it looks like you've got Eric's going into pit.
Well, they're right on that number now, I think, for fuel. So, maybe one of those strategy games. The only downside is I don't think he'll go a lap down here. So if he is to pit now and the caution were to come out, that would put him to the lead. Because you got to think everybody else is going to pit.
we've been watching that battle back there towards the back between Riggs and Regan, and we've kind of neglected up here. We've got Denson and Neidig right there with each other fighting, and Robert, Bucher, and Harcum. They've kind of gathered up together. I mean, out of your top 6 are playoff drivers. And teammates are going to pick. Rafferty, when he pits, Bucher's going in. You're going to have Harcum and Denson. They're going to pit together.
Well, I think they should, so that way they have a little bit of draft. They can kind of work together. If you go in by yourself, you don't have that help with the draft if you don't come out around other cars. Pitting together kind of guarantees that. So I think that's a wise decision.
I mean, Riggs just went into the pit, so that's going to put Joe not being able to pit with his teammates. So, I mean, if you're Neidig and Joe, who do you pit with?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We've seen Bobby run some fast laps without draft, so maybe those guys feel they can do it as well.
It's not going to saying as they say, if Bobby can do it, I can do it better. So we're going to see if they can do it better. You can see right there, Rafferty's coming up on Riggs, Mormon, Regan, and Mott right there. They're just now coming out of pit road. And that is such a long pit lane, Tony. Especially under green flag.
Absolutely. Very long and pretty slow for being such a track, such a big track. The pit road speed is pretty, I believe it is, let's see here. Yeah, 60 miles an hour. So you get a big run coming off a 4, and you're just, trying to carry as much speed in.
Looks like Neidig and Robert pitting together. So we ain't got no teammates. Let's just work together.
So now the question is, as the leader, Bobby Rafferty, how long do you stay out?
He said he was taking Joe's horseshoe. He said he was throwing everything he's known out the window for the playoffs. So I wouldn't expect to see him completely changing everything up. I mean,
oh, there we go. Bobby's coming in this time. He didn't want to give up any more time on fresh tires to John and Joe.
them guys are just now coming out of the pit.
Teammate looks like Zach Bucher's coming with him. Pretty big gap in between them, though. I don't know if they're going to come off the pit road together or not. I mean, that's a pretty large gap. Maybe with the draft, Zach can get caught up to Bobby, but I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see. Wow. And I really want to see how this plays out here, where Joe and John come out.
Right now they're 11th and 12th, and they're back there with Riggs. So Riggs is caught up with one of his teammates. So him and Robert may be trying to work together, but Riggs' tires, he's about 3 laps ahead of when Joe pitted.
Right. Jacob Denson came down pit road with Zach and Bobby.
And here comes Charlie. He's going to hand that lead over. He wanted to get him a point for leading the lap. Oh, he's fishtailing it. He's going to hand it over to Hornbeck. Preston Hornbeck is your leader. You know what, Tony, too? I'm surprised that kid ain't got more of a fan following. Because a few times we've talked to him, he's got that persona.
Well, and you're always trying to build that fan following for him. We talk about him all the time and the improvement we've seen and how he's running up front a lot. And I guess they just haven't caught on. Joe Robert making a pass on Eric Warman.
That's really shifted a lot of stuff up because now you've got Regan ahead of Robert and Neidig. So that's going to bump Neidig back down, back to his probably, I'm going to say about 7th in the points.
Yeah, but I think Greg Rogers, Jordan Miles, Preston Hornbeck, I think they all need to pit yet.
Yeah, Miles and Rogers hasn't. Preston's in now. And you got Neidig ahead of Ninson. So I mean, if it, oh, it's gonna be fun seeing how these points is gonna play out.
Yeah, I think the only one that really gained anything, at least at this moment, as far as our front runners, is William Reagan. He came in a little earlier. I believe he came in, didn't he?
He came in at 36.
Yeah, so he came in a little earlier than these guys and gained three or four spots on track. But we'll see what the long game has for him because these guys on pressure tires, we may see them go around him pretty quick.
And Rafferty, I mean, he's up to a 5-second lead. I mean, he's coming through start finish, and them other guys are just now coming to pit road area.
Well, I don't think we were talking to Bobby after the last race, and he was talking about that horseshoe and the strategy it wasn't working out for him. But I think this race was pretty straightforward. And, you had a little bit of wiggle room where you should pit on that second fuel run, but I don't think it was really enough to change things up too much. And especially with his speed, he could run it a little longer than everybody else and still come out in the lead.
I'm going to tell you the battle right here. The one that's going to come down to is going to be these four we're watching right now. That's going to be Regan, Robert, Neidig, and Denson. I mean, they're all playoff drivers. Every one of them's in the round of 8. And they are wanting to get to that round of 4.
Yeah, and they're gaining a lot of time right now on Reagan, especially after that corner. They gained quite a bit there. I think Joe may end up getting past him here in turn 1. I don't know if John will on that high side.
I think Regan may have gotten to the wall just a little bit. That's enough to get Joe by him, but.
And John's got a good run off the corner. John almost got into his bumper there.
We're going to jump in car with Denson and kind of see what he's seeing.
We're seeing him looking at John. John backed up the corner to try and get a good run off, and he's going to make the move on the 37 here. See if Denson follows him through. Denson's going to make the move in turn 1 here, get side by side with him in 1 and try and clear him. Reagan went a little high there. Able to kind of keep him on the corner panel, but yeah, I think it's lost cause there. Denson's got the momentum on that low line. William Reagan gives up the spot, settles in, but he's going to be under attack from Zach Bucher here pretty quick.
We got a nice little, I just happened to catch it. Looks like a little three-way battle back towards the back.
I see Chargin' Charlie. Jim Mott looked like he got in the wall there. Chargin' Charlie, Cody Riggs, and Eric Warman. Ten to go.
Now I'm pretty much just going to go ahead and throw this out there. This is Rafferty's race to lose. I mean, look at that gap. He's halfway down, backstretch, and they're just now coming out of turn 2.
Yeah, even if we were to get a caution here, I think he's fast enough controlling, the lead on the restart, being on the bottom line. I think it's still his race. Unless he makes a really big mistake here, I don't think any of these guys are going to have a chance.
You're starting to see him kind of span out, and Neidig would really like to take that P3.
He's going to be under attack here pretty quick, so he better hit that loud pedal. 79 to Jacob Denson's inching closer. And Joe Roberts getting further away. William Reagan's under attack by the 14 of Zach Bucher right now. I think we're seeing that earlier pit stop play out here. I think Zach will make pretty quick work of getting around William Reagan.
Looks like Zach's going to try to do it on the high side, which... Well, he
I
entered
think
on the high.
I think he's just trying to set it up. He's probably going to lift a little bit early and get that cut down and try the crossover.
He set him up perfect. He just drove right on the inside of him.
Yep. I think that's what you almost have to do here. If somebody's not willing to give you the high lane on the straight, or the low lane in the straight stretch, you just got to back up that corner and get the drive off and make the pass on the low side.
There's that battle we was talking about. Denson just overtook Neidick going into one.
Yeah, I don't think there's much that Neidick can do there. I think his car's just falling off a little too much. That damage probably is not helping that matter. So he'll just settle in here in fourth and just try to maintain. He might try to battle back, but we'll see what he does here.
You know, Rafferty's got so much of a lead on it. You would think that Robert Denson and Neidick is your 1, 2, 3.
That's weird. It's saying Bobby's in pits.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
I don't think he's in pits.
No, I had to change that to last time and back. I think it was just a little glitch there. Boy,
Yeah,
I was looking real quick. I'm like, he's in the pits. Uh-oh, what's wrong?
I mean, with an 8-second lead, he really doesn't, even have to push the car. He can just kind of cruise and be easy on it. So if he would have went to pits there would have been something majorly wrong.
Him and his teammate both top fives. But you know what? You got Charging Charlie, who's came into the picture. Vincent's closed the gap on Robert. But I don't think they're really going to overcome a 9-second gap.
No, the battle definitely here is for second.
I think, like you said, it's going to come down to a second, third battle, and possibly a fifth and sixth. It's going to be interesting to see how these 8 are going to shift around, especially with Riggs back in 9th.
Yeah, the points is definitely going to get shaken up here. I think, 1 and 2 I don't think is going to change at all. Obviously, Bobby's out front, Joe's in second, so that should be the same. I think the backside of our point standings is where it's going to get shaken up.
Yeah, William, Cody, Zach, and John, that's going to be swapping around, especially the way they finish. Got Denson on the inside of Robert.
Cody seems kind of slow right now. He just got passed by 3 cars back here.
Bucher's going to the inside of Neidick. Tenson's to the inside of Joe. 4 to go.
Zach Bucher went all the way down to almost to the inside wall, gets the position. I know Joe's going to do everything he can do here, but I just don't know if there's anything that he can do. Denson's kind of, he's there, makes the pass. Ooh, 82 and the 44 kind of mixing it up. 44 is trying to put a block on the 82, and the 82 was on his bumper.
He didn't catch it, but I don't know if it was as much of a block if it was trying to stay with Zach's draft.
Yeah, he might have been trying to stay there, but he put the 82 in a pretty bad spot there. May not have known he was behind him, but they worked it out, and 82 made the pass. Now he's going for Zach Bucher.
I think Robert don't have much for Vincent, but I think Bucher's kind of woke up.
Look at the run the 82 gets there, though. He pulled right up to Zach Bucher's bumper. He got a great run off the corner, and he's going to make the pass. I think. 14's battling on the outside, but he had to lift to prevent from not getting in the wall there, and that gave the position to the 82.
We've seen Zach set it up like he did with Williams, so that's a possibility of doing it again.
Yeah, I think the 82 is just too fast right now. I think Zach burned up his tires a little more than Charging Charlie did. I think the same thing with Denson. He was able to get around the 6 at Joe Robert. I think they just saved a little more tire. I wouldn't be surprised if Charlie was able to get up to P3 here. Watching some of these runs he's getting off the corner, he's definitely doing it better than the 6s right now.
He's closing it in. He's closing that gap.
Yeah, a little bit at a time. Looks like Joe is really pushing the car now, driving it into the corner really deep. That's going to abuse those tires even more.
Harcum ran a 54.87 last lap compared to Joe's 55.12.
Yeah. Joe is still battling, but Charlie's closed that gap a lot. One more lap around. We'll see what Charlie can do with it. Joe's pushing that car as hard as he can, though. You can see him. But he's gaining time on entry, but losing it on exit, and that's where Charlie's a lot faster, is off the corner.
All right, you can see they're coming into 3 right now.
See what Charlie does here. If he's going to try I think he's going to try a crossover here.
Rafferty just took the checkered flag. Battle's coming down the right here.
Oh, Charlie's got a good run off the corner. Joe can't block it. That's going to come to a drag race at the line. And Joe got it.
Charlie, I believe, would have had about a half a more lap.
Yep.
He would have got him on that.
Right at the line. It was just a little bit. Joe was able to hold him off.
Zach Bucher rounding out top 5. John Neidick winds up in 6. William Regan 7. That's gonna shift up some points. I believe you guys are fixing to be busy for a little bit.
Yeah, I think I'm curious to see where John comes out. He finished 6th, but he had a few of those cars he's battling finish ahead of him, but he gained those bonus points. So we'll see how it plays out. Might just kind of equal out and not really gain, not really lose.
We know he'll get a jump ahead of possibly Riggs.
Yeah, I think he will. I don't believe Riggs scored any bonus points on the stage. And John obviously got 5 bonus points and the pole position. So yeah, I think he will. We'll see what the points look like here in a minute.
pretty sure Rafferty's happy to get that monkey off his back and get a win, knowing now he's in.
Yep, he can have a wreck at Homestead, whatever. He's locked in.
He is in. He is heading to the championship 4 at Auto Club.
He also gains a lot of bonus points tonight. Gained 7 for the stage. A lap led, most laps led, fastest lap. So that's what, 10 bonus points there?
Yeah, it's going to give him a good little cushion.
All except for two bonus points that he could have potentially had, pole or biggest mover. Those are the only 2 bonus points he did not get tonight.
I seriously think the biggest mover was going to go to Chad Wiggins.
18th to 9th.
We're going to get our P3 in here real quick. He didn't have his horseshoe tonight. I think Rafferty took the horseshoe from him, but Joe, finishing out in third, nothing to be ashamed of. You still got a pretty good shot going into the round of the championship round, being one of the 4 drivers.
Yeah. Can't say I'm really surprised with what happened. I mean, if anyone watched ARCA last season, same similar kind of result. Yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll do good at Homestead. Homestead can get flooded for all I care. It's a crap racetrack, but um, we got a good finish, got good stage points, led a lap. We're second right now. I just saw the points get updated, so we're in a good position. Just well, actually no, the bonus points have not been thrown up yet for stage. So it looks like I'll be second, but we just have to have a good finish next week. Don't have to win, but we have to have a good finish.
That's all it's going to take to make it to Auto Club for that championship 4. Hey, we know how you feel at Homestead. How do you
Yeah.
feel at Auto Club?
Feel good about Auto Club. I hope that we'll be able to pull something off there brain wise, but we'll see. The only thing that we can't have happen next week, I would say, is Zach, William, or John winning a race. Because then it's going to put us in a real interesting situation. Because, yeah, I got a little bit of a point lead on, say, Danson and Harcum, but, bad finishes can still happen. So it looks like the points are still getting updated. So,
Yep, they're putting in the stage points right now. Should be done here in a minute.
yeah, looks like they're still missing a couple of them. It was a shame that Cody didn't have a good run today. Was hoping that it'd go a little bit better for him, but yeah, he's gonna need a win tomorrow. He's gonna need a win next week to have a good shot because 10-point deficit that's gonna be hard to overcome, especially over 3 other guys.
That it is. Well, Joe, you know the routine, man. Give those shout outs.
Yeah, shout out to Cody. I like racing with him. He's fun to race with. Hopefully next week we'll be a little bit better than him. We didn't get a chance to really do anything today, but we had good speed, which mattered. Shout out for you to put this on. Shout out to everyone who watches, from family, friends, all that. We're hoping that we can be in the championship 4 and get a second championship here, but I did what I did wanted to do last year, which was just get one more league championship, and I did that. And we didn't expect to be in this position. Weren't planning to be in this position. Um, with everything being said, wasn't even supposed to run full time. Was going to really take a break from league racing, but we're here and gonna make the most of it. Hopefully, we'll have a good race next week.
Well, Joe, the points are updated. You are still sitting in second, and you have a 7-point cushion to fourth place. So you're looking pretty good.
Actually,
10-point
have a
cushion to
10-point.
fifth.
Yeah.
Yep.
Top four is what matters. Now, if one of those top five guys if it was one of those bottom four guys get up front and win it, that's going to be a little problematic. But I'm thinking it's going to be a close one. Every single point's going to matter. Stage points. I mean, that's what got us up to this gap. If we got no stage points, we'd be at 49 right now. So those stage points mattered. We had to get every single point that we could grab onto today. We'll had a lap, so that's good. Yeah, it's stage points. So we'll see how we go next week.
All right, man. We're gonna shoot you back down there to second bank race and hope to see you with
Yep.
next week at Homestead.
Yep. Hopefully, he's not driving mad in the championship 4 though. He was driving mad today and he won, so we don't need that.
Oh, seems the wrong chat. Well, somebody we ain't talked to in a couple weeks. I mean, he's kind of been a little MIA up here in the podium, but he brought it back with Indy Denson. You're sitting still. You're still in your top four, but you ain't in that P2 where you been all season long, man. What you gonna change next week at Homestead?
I think going to Homestead, my goal is to just get the top four. I don't care if it's second, third, or fourth. As long as it's top four, I'm happy. Because I'm pretty sure, if I'm not wrong, the points reset to 0, right, for the top four?
Correct.
Yep. So if I can get in the top four, I don't really care where I finish. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd love to get a win just because I see Bobby's kind of pulling away on me on the wins there. But we're gonna go try to get that top four.
Well, looking at the point situation right now, bonus points are going to be big next week. What's your plan there?
I think obviously we want to get stage points when we can. And I haven't really looked at what a fuel run looks like at Homestead. So I have to do a little bit of practicing there, but I definitely want to try to get as many stage points as I can. I'm not one for getting pole position, so I can kind of forget that one. I don't get the best lap time, so I can forget that one. But obviously a lap lead and some stage points would be big.
Well, yeah, I think that's exactly what you need to do. Looking at the points here, you're got a 6-point cushion to fifth. Just kind of gotta gain the points where you can. Hopefully, somebody below fourth place doesn't get a win, and you should be all right.
Yeah. Stay out of trouble. That's the big thing. Stay out of trouble. Keep it clean, and just try to stay in front of who's behind me.
How was it out there tonight? Pretty decent. Hard to pass.
It was hard to pass. Tire wear was a big factor. The car got extremely tight to me, at least on at least 5 or 6 laps. I mean, you really had to baby it. And I kind of that first run was really learning how everybody else was running because in practice I couldn't really get around anybody, and I was really messing up the exit of 2 and 4. And once we got that first run, I kind of figured a couple things out, which helped me out. Backing that turn up, getting a run off the turn, and really saving the tires, and that's what helped me out in the end because I was not expecting to finish second. I'm very happy with the second place. Obviously, Bobby was the class of the field. We couldn't even keep up with the guy. I mean, was he like 9 seconds ahead of us at the end?
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
11, no,
pretty.
it's 11.7 seconds. So that's pretty pretty impressive.
Yeah, we're gonna have to send him through tech. Make sure he didn't have any louvers modified or anything like that.
He had that. What do they call it in the Formula One? That DSL.
Oh yeah,
He's dropping that spoiler down on the straightaways or something.
VRS or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, man, you know the deal. You got the shout outs.
Absolutely. We want to shout out B&H Racing, B&H IT. They've been with us all season long. Phelps Media, they're a big part of what we got going on. Let me think. J&E Gaming, they're another one that we have with us that we don't really give a lot of love to here recently, but we want to make sure they're getting a shout out. And obviously, Little Miami Brewing. If you're ever in the Cincinnati area, check them out. They're a really great place. I'm really looking forward to next week.
All right, man. Well, congratulations on the P2, and hopefully we'll talk to you next week.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Well, he's heading to Auto Club. He can actually relax next week if he wants. I mean, it's all reset at Auto Club. You ain't gonna have no bonus points advantage. Everybody's gonna be pretty much equally straight across. Charlie on a Harley. I almost wondering if that's charging Charlie, but he locked himself in. He is going to Auto Club. I'm pretty sure he is all smiles right now. Bobby, you took the horseshoe away and you conquered Indy.
Took that horseshoe and shoved it down his throat. No, it was good. I'll tell you what, I almost got to thank Joe because I've been so aggravated over the past 2 weeks. I actually put some practice in and figured out every single conceivable strategy call that could have been played. And we're going to do the same thing for Homestead, and we're going to do the same thing for Auto Club. Joe's forcing me to actually put in work, and you see what the results are. So I'm very, very happy with it.
Yeah, luckily for this race, I don't think there was a whole lot of strategy involved as fast as you were. I mean, you could afford to pit later or earlier and still maintain that gap. So,
100%. And the undercut doesn't work at Indy. It doesn't work in the Indy cars, doesn't work in the stock cars. I mean, you guys know this. Indy's my track. I have an absolute obsession with that place. I've got thousands and thousands of laps around that track. I get bored one day, I'll just jump on and just jump in a Lotus 49 and turn laps around Indy in a test session by myself. That's the amount of love I have for that place. So, you know, it's good to get the win here. I got to give a shout out to John Neidick, though. He put down an absolute burner of a qualifying lap. So hats off to him on the pole and the track record for this place.
yeah, man, and seemed like everybody else needed draft to keep pace, but you didn't have draft all night. It seemed like so you were definitely fast the entire time with no assistance.
Yeah, just it's a matter of you got to protect the right front the entire run. You can't charge the corners. Period. You can't do it because if you do, the tire fall off here in the Xfinity cars was about 2 seconds. If you push the tires even a tiny bit for one lap, it's gonna jump to 2.5, 3 seconds. It really, really punishes you, and that's one of the things that myself and Zach tested. And I'm glad that we, again, I'm glad that we did.
But just out of curiosity, was it the tire wear itself, or was it the tire heat that was the biggest factor as far as lap time went?
Tire wear. I
Okay.
really truly believe tire wear, and they obviously heat and wear go hand in hand. The hotter you get them, the more they wear. So you can go honestly, you can go either way on that. But I really made sure that I protected the right front and the right rear, kept them as cool as you could. I mean, halfway through the runs, I was damn near parking it in turn 2 and turn 3 because of another thing that people don't realize about Indy. The direction of the wind blowing, as silly as that sounds, the direction of the wind going across the track is going to affect the car on each end of the track. And tonight it felt great in 4 and felt great in 1. But 2 and 3, it was really, really punishing you if you overdrove. And you had to damn near park the car in the center and then gas up off of the corners to get a good run.
Well, that's very interesting. I've heard that before in real life NASCAR about the wind and having a headwind on either the front stretch or the back stretch really affecting the car.
Indy, it's for whatever reason. I've done too many, Indy 500s and the Wicked Energy fake 500 that I've run or attempted to qualify for a few times. Especially in the open wheel cars where they're so downforce dependent, it really, really shows up there. But I noticed it in the stock cars pretty pronounced as well.
Yeah, well, maintained the lead in points, got the bonus points, pushed a gap, locked yourself into the championship 4. So, man, you know the deal. Shout out to yours.
Yeah, I mean, First off, I gotta also give a shout out to Zach. Zach ran a phenomenal race tonight. He leapt from 8th to 5th in the points. Him and Neidick are tied for 5th, and they're only a few points back from Charlie. So if anybody hasn't tuned in for a race yet, or if this is your first time, definitely tune in next Monday because it's going to be dogfight between the top, pretty much 2nd through 6th place for 3 spots. So definitely tune in for that. It's going to be wild. But no, as for shout outs, obviously, Relentless Racing League for giving us a great place to run. I say it every week. I'll continue to say it. This is one of the best leagues out there. Southern Broadcast Racing Network for doing the stream, and then my team, Exiled Esports, Ancient World Gaming, and all of our partners, Premier Racing Setups, Next Level Racing, Simrat Market, Sordog, FGR Excel, Design the Void, Advanced GG, Cutscene, Bucked Up, G-Coin, everybody. The list is just a mile long, and we're very, very fortunate to have so many people and great companies around us that support this crazy little hobby that we have here called sim racing.
Well, man, you got that guaranteed spot in the championship for. What's your plan for next week? You gonna go for it, or are you gonna just kind of let it play out?
Gonna let it play out, but I'd be a horrible teammate if I was sitting here and saying, and a liar and saying that I'm not gonna be doing everything I can to make sure that Zach makes that top 4 and can race for a championship going into Auto Club. So gonna be a lot of work this week. Trying to get him right and get him up to, a pace where strategy is not going to come into play at Homestead and he can walk away with that one. That's the ultimate goal. I'm locked in already, so it doesn't matter if I finish first or if I finish dead last. Now the project is getting Zach locked in.
All right, man. Well, congratulations on the win tonight, and hopefully we'll see you and Zach up here next week.
I'm praying to God that's going to be the goal, man. See you guys next week.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You as well.
Tony, it's all coming down to next week. 20 weeks, 22 weeks. They have been duking it out. We have seen Denson and Rafferty all through the regular season battling it out. Denson's kind of fell off the radar through the playoffs, but he's getting his points in and he's getting positions when it counts. And I'm gonna tell you what, next week you've got 8 people going for 3 spots because one's locked in and there's 7 fighting for 3. I mean, we saw Neidick went up 3 spots. He's sitting tied with Zach, and they're not too far back from Charlie. They're 3 points back from Charlie.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually pretty excited. I know a lot of people are kind of have their own opinions about Homestead, but I think that it is going to put on a great show because of that. 4 people or 7 people battling for 3 spots. Homestead is a tough track. Kind of gets back to the NASCAR style oval. It's going to be a great battle. We're going to see who has the right strategy, who makes the right calls, who survives to lock themselves in and advance to that championship for at Auto Club.
Yeah, I personally put Homestead in the same categories I do Phoenix. I personally have no use for it, but it makes for some good racing.
Yeah, I've never been good at Homestead, but I do think this is going to be a great race to end this round. Great track for it. A lot of people are going to struggle. A lot of people are going to be good, and who makes the least number of mistakes, and who can maintain their tires. Homestead chews up tires if I remember correctly, and who's going to be able to save those tires? 100 laps there. Gonna be a tough race, and is the long run gonna be the strategy? Is the short run gonna be the strategy? We're gonna have cautions, and not only that, they have a time of day multiplier on 8. So this track is going to go through a significant change in a very short amount of time.
We're going to start in the day and finish at night.
Absolutely. This is the only one this season that they have that high of a time multiplier on. So starts at late afternoon. It's probably going to be hot, and then it's going to get real cold. And as the sun goes down, the track's going to get really, a lot of grip. It's going to be wild.
Puckery, spicy, and wild. That is on the agenda for next week at Homestead. And if you want to know who's going to be battling it out for the Championship 4, you're going to have to tune in next week, because me and Tony ain't giving you no hints except that Rafferty locked himself in. 3 spots are up for grab. Tony, we taking it to Homestead next week.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. It's definitely going to be spicy.
Well, on behalf of myself, Tony, Relentless Racing, and SPRN, we'll see y'all next week. And well, you already said it, so we're gonna go out with go out quick.